Good morning, afternoon, evening, and good night. My name is Zaky Fajarianto with the student number 123231019. It's a final project for the class of Cultural Civilization. So let's get straight to it. So in this podcast, I'm gonna talk about a video uploaded by CNN, which is Farid talk and the title which is by Farid, and the video title is Trump administration's war on colleges, which in this clip basically Farid talks about how the Trump administration is antagonizing universities in two things. First, financially by cutting funds, and two is ideologically by the growing hostility toward university and academia world, basically. Because and I think it's interesting because in Western cultural civilization, universities are like they're one of their top pillars, right? One of the top things that makes the Western society is advanced as it is right now, right? Because the production of scientific advancement, health advancement, and just thoughts production, or what you say like the literacy percentage actually helps the Western civilization to be advanced or to be as glorious as it is at the moment, right? And it's interesting like that. So, but before I'm gonna talk about my own opinion on this clip or video. I'm gonna talk briefly about what Farid says in this video, and basically, what he begins stating that the United States basically dominates the global higher education, basically, with only, I remember this, with only 4% of total global population and 25% of 20% of its GDP. The top 25 universities, top 25 universities in the world, 68%, no, 68 to 72% of those top 25 is from the US. And that's insane feat. Like, let's put it into perspective, right? I live in Indonesia, and let's say the best university, the top university in Indonesia is Universitas Indonesia. And I just checked before making this video. It in QS ranking, it sits right about it sits right at the 189 mark, and in the world. And in comparison, a good 70% of the top 25 in the world is in the US, and that's an insane feat. And it is now in danger, like we already stated, because the Trump administration is antagonizing them, basically, and by cutting the fundings and basically not treating them as like a national treasure that they are. And it's insane because I would like, if let's say if Indonesia, like, let's say, like, have like two universities that are above top 100 in the world, I would be going crazy. But anyways, yeah, and it the antagonizing is really shows, because not only by action, not only by the cutting funding, or but also by the free speech, and that because J.D. Vance, which is the vice president of the United States of America right now, stated, okay, I'm gonna read this one, don't take away my points for the finals, because it is a quote, I don't want to misquote. We have to honestly and aggressively attack the universities. The professors are the enemy. Which is, again, insane to say by a vice president, and it is quite ironic, personally, because the right wing, which is what J.D. Vance and Trump administrations, basically, the right wing has been so vocal about free speech, right? They have been the ones that endorse free speech so much, but with this action, And with that statement, it seems that the free speech is only when the value aligns with them. But when universities or other instances allow views that are different or contradicts them, it's seen as a threat. And it is insane, bro. It is insane because it also results in poor policy planning, like the cutting funds of universities. And you might be thinking the cutting funds is because there are other better or more important funding, and this cutting funds or these funds that we're cutting is like the ones that are not, that are irrelevant, for us. So I will be cutting their funds. No, in reality, I'm gonna read this again. It's the example because I don't want to misquote again. Michigan State University has declared that these cuts could make it stop construction of a $330 million research building for cancer, cardiovascular disease, and neuroscience studies. And that is again, this is I don't know how many times I've said this. It is insane because those are the fundings not that will affect them directly, because it is not only just like irrelevant fundings, it is fundings that are meant for their scientific advancement, for their health advancements. And I don't know how to say it, but it is just insane, you know because it will affect them. And another point that caught my attention from Farid is that he argues basically that there are some diversity challenges, like there's not enough diversity in ideologies in universities, which I agree, but only to some extent, because let me explain, okay? Let's say in business, let's say in politics, let's say in law, there have to be a lot of ideologies, right? Because if in these fields, if there's only one dominating ideologies or views, it will be hard for the people that don't align with the ideologies to express themselves, to show people what they think. Because if these dominating ideologies also includes the teacher or lecturers, that will be even worse. Not only to people who have opposing ideologies, but also people who does. Why? Because they will be in echo chamber. They will be surrounded by people who have the same views as them, and they will not construct a proper critical thinking skills, because they barely interact with people who have opposing ideas with them. So I personally think that in this case, in these fields, they should be able to interact with other or opposing ideas a lot, so that, because they can, with that they can construct or come with the conclusion of which methods or which way is the best. And it can be a collaboration. It's not just black and white. It can be a collaboration of different views to make the best outcome. That's what problem solving is. But again, I only to some extent, because in these fields, in this economics, in law, in politics, but let's say I'm from faculty of humanities, right? If we have to argue about human rights, I don't think you were a person. Okay, this is very personal, not very proper for final exam, but I don't think if I have to argue about human rights with you, I don't think you are a person that worth my time to be arguing about. Because it's as simple as everyone, no matter what you are, no matter where you're from, you deserve human rights. You deserve food and water to live. You deserve to have clothes. You deserve to have a roof to live under. No matter what identities you have, unless your identity actually ties with the harm of others, And I'm gonna say, obviously a subjective opinion, like if you're a Zionist, if you're a fascist, if you're a racist, these are identities that will affect you, okay? And that will affect or harm others. So that's different. But if you were born a Muslim, if you were born a Christian, if you were born a Jew, if you were born in Africa, if you were born in Sudan, if you were born in Congo, if you were born in Palestine, you deserve human rights just as everyone else is in the world. I don't think we can argue with that. And again, it can also reflect with Trump administrations. It's not mentioned in here because this video, I think, is quite, I wouldn't say old, but before this, but ICE basically. But we're not gonna talk about that. But again, what another point from the video that I'm kind of interested in is he mentioned that China is copying the best qualities of US, which is the technological advancement, which is the funding. It's funny actually, because China is actually funding the technology advancements while US are cutting theirs, and also US is censoring their people, trying to censor their people, which is one of the worst qualities of China that they're copying. And if I may have to self-insert, the guy that nobody invited, it's all also Indonesia is copying the worst qualities of China and US. A bit out of topic, not proper for a final exam, but it is interesting because let's say the cutting funds, cutting funds of important stuff, cutting funds of college actually aligns with Indonesia, cutting funds of college. But in Indonesia, we use the cutted funds to fund a different program which so far have barely any significance. I mean, it's a long-term program, but for 1 billion rupiahs per day with little to no outcome, with little to no result, but that's personal opinion anyways. Second one is the censorship, or no, not censorship, but like I would say anti-intellectualism. I think the what is called the cutting funds and the statement by JD Vance actually contributes to anti-intellectualism. But in Indonesia, let's say in Indonesia, if you are someone who are educated, you are a graduate, you are someone who has public speaking skills, you are someone who narrates well, you are not seen now with the growing of anti-intellectualism. You are not seen as someone who is educated. You are seen as someone who is pretentious. You are seen as someone who tries to sound smart with using like advanced or a higher level of vocabularies, when you using that vocabularies were just trying to find the best word that fits what you're trying to explain. But people see that because they feel inferior, they feel that as you just trying to sound smart because of the anti-intellectualism. And the reason is okay, it's almost 15 minutes, so I don't have much time left, but I just want to say that it was fun to make this video. I'm actually interested in the topic. Maybe the substance in itself in this video, in my opinions, is not really high because me personally, anyways. Thank you. That's it for me. That's it from me. Bye. Thank you.